Hello everybody and welcome back to Ducks and Wrenches. Today I'm going to be talking about our first 8 weeks raising ducklings. We have now done this twice from ducklings, and we just recently added 3 new Welsh Harlequins who are about 6 weeks old. So we've been deep in the duckling raising informational step-by-step process for a while now, and I figured I would let you guys in on a little bit of that process. So first off, we got our sweet little first runner ducklings, Sherlock, Eudora, and Gus. Now, these guys were our first try, and so there's a lot of questions and trying things out and seeing what worked. Basically, we had started off with using towels and all of that, but the most important thing that we had was made sure that they had food, they had water, a good source of water, and also that they were at the right temperature, because ducklings are super sensitive and need to be protected and at a perfect temperature. So that was for week 1 with Gus was about 32 degrees Celsius. What we did was we just had the heat lamp on Gus because everybody else was of different age, and then they kind of got the residual heat from that. So it worked pretty well. Our second go around, we decided to go straight to puppy pads. It was the simplest way to do it. Way less cleanup, no gross towels or anything. And then we also had a big bin that we found, the biggest one at Home Depot, and that was really helpful in giving them a spot that was safe, had a lid on it, nothing could get in, especially because we have cats and all that. And when we move them outside, also we have mice and rodents, so it's a perfect way to keep them safe is to have a lid on it, but also make sure there aren't lots of holes. When we get into week 2, the heat changes quite a bit, where we can go down to a 29 degrees Celsius heat. This is when you start to get a little bit less worried about how delicate they are. They're super sweet to pick up and interact with and cuddle with. They're still the ducklings, but they become a little bit more hardy each week. And at this point, we knew that they weren't going to be failure to thrive ducks. And look how sweet these ones are. It just makes my heart gush a little bit thinking about them when they were younger. Because we had our 3 older ones, and then we had our 2 newer ducklings that we got, Monty and Kamikaze. So they were super fun to kind of know what we were doing and dive back into it. But don't get me wrong, it is tons of work. And making sure that they have things like the nutritional yeast in their food, the right temperature, lots of water. Also, something I didn't realize is that they need to have, for my first ducklings, they need to have a way to get their heads all the way in so they don't get crusty eyes. That was an issue we had with Gus right at the beginning, and we quickly learned. When we got into week 3, it was really fun because they were able to start stretching their legs and doing little swims, and they were kind of getting a little bit in their awkward phase. It's really funny. But now, you can see their older ducklings, it was a little bit different because they were a lot older and everything was kind of a little bit more delayed for them. The temperature for them is about 27 degrees Celsius. And this is when I started to upgrade all of our waters to make sure that they could kind of dip their feet and then swim if they wanted to and clean themselves up. The first couple weeks, you get a little bit more worried about them drowning themselves and stuff like that. So we want to be super careful that they're safe and have that preventative measure, especially with the other 2, as we were kind of late on the game for every step with our first ones. But these 2 little Welsh Harlequins were living it up in their life. I've never felt more confident in raising ducklings, but also messy at every stage. This is also when I began to move in a UV light, just so that we could have a little bit more daytime. They were tucked off into a corner, so I just felt like they weren't getting enough sunlight, so that's when I was able to get a little grow light for them, not UV. But yeah, I just find how funny they are. They're a little goofy at this age. It's pretty cute. As you get into week 4, that temperature is down to 20.5 degrees Celsius, and now you can start to think about turning off that light at night when it's the right temperature. This is also when they get to explore the outdoors. So at this point, we had all of our ducks inside still and a little bit farther than we needed to, but Gus was still little, and so it was really important to keep him safe. And this is when they need to be inside, they need to be safe, they are still dependent on you. And this is a really good time to make sure that that bond is strong as well. This is also the point in time we felt that they were getting a bit too messy to be inside our main house, so we moved them into a really protected shed. It was basically like an extra room just outside of our actual house. They had everything they needed and they were protected by a good lid. This is also when we got to do some supervised visits outside, and they just ran, and they run fast, by the way. They don't walk slowly, they go for it, and they just got to graze and be ducks. It was really cute to watch. Honestly, these two, they just cracked me up. These two little siblings, Monty and Kamikaze, just were attached to the hip from the moment we got them, and it never changed. They are still outside to this day, about 11 weeks old, and just super connected. At week 5, it's really like temperature is not too much of an issue, but we have these funny little ducks that are developing so quickly and need ponds and need water, but need to be still safe and supervised. This is Gus interacting with Euphoria and Sherlock outside. He just really wanted to be where they were. Because we were raising ducks of different ages, they needed to be outside all day, and he couldn't. And then we had our Monty and Kamikaze learning to swim in the pond, and they were super cute as well, just splashing about. Week 6, we get to start having them outside all day, and that was really awesome because it was less cleanup for us overall, and they could start to have their own pond and swim and just learn to be ducks outside, and are a lot less dependent on us and a lot more dependent on each other, as long as they have water, food, and are somewhat protected. For me, I'm always more comfortable if they are completely protected. And we also got to introduce them to our other pack. And week 7, this is when you start to get to move them outside, which I was super excited about, to just get them out of my space. And they are completely feathered at this point for these runners, and also my Welshes were completely feathered, and they could just enjoy their coop, enjoy the life that they were meant to be living outside. Week 8, they're outside, they're thriving, and I just love this point in time where they become these lawn ornaments that don't take up space in the house, don't take up a lot of resources. You still have to be there. It's a huge responsibility, but once they have food, water, and someone to put them into bed at night, it's pretty awesome. Just a warning to those thinking about starting raising ducks. This is not for the faint of heart, and it does tie you down in a responsibility that is daily. And so it is really, however, really fulfilling. I love my growing flock. We are at 8 now, and this is just the 5 of them a couple weeks ago. But because we wanted to keep both of our boys, we needed to get some more girls. So if you want to stick along with us, you'll see all about that as well. It was really cute when we got everybody together, this little group of 5. Gus still wasn't really able to be there because he is in the heat of spring.
So they're trying to teach him how to get up the ramp.
It was just really cute watching our 2 runners interact with our new babies, because they just really wanted to teach them how to use the ramp, and so they go up and down and tell Monty and Kamikaze how to use it. It was so cute.